So I started off at over 400 pounds. Uh, that's true. I didn't really start off that way. I was born as a baby, but later on I got up to 406 pounds, which I think was the highest amount that I weighed ever. And that's a pretty big cat. I'm right around 6 feet tall, so much bigger than any human should be. But I I also along the way developed diabetes, high blood pressure. I was just out of control, just eating what I wanted when I wanted in the wrong way. Um, I wore size 4X clothes. I don't know if you're familiar with big and tall sizes. It goes from extra large to 1X, then 2X, then 3X, then 4X. My waist size was 60-inch waist. Um, and I mention all that because that's where I started. That's why I started a journey to get healthy, to stay alive, and it's taken years. Today, I weigh 215 pounds. Last year, I had a goal that I hit. I walked a total of 1,875 miles for exercise. And this year's goal is 2,000 miles. I want to walk 2,000 miles. And I'm a little bit behind, just to be honest, because I had a plantar fasciitis injury and it slowed me down. So I'm recovering from that pretty well now. Um, let's see, right now I'm looking at my numbers over here. I have 685 miles, I think, as of this morning. Today is May 19th, 2023. It puts me about 186 miles behind my goal if you stretch it out. But I wouldn't bet against me. I'll make that up because when I set goals, I make them. That's one of the things, and that's one of the things I want to talk about today. Um, the other medical issues are under control. You can't necessarily reverse those things, but they are under control. I wear either large or extra large clothes, depending on how they're cut. My waist size is down to 36. At 63 years old, I feel like I can do just about anything, including split firewood. Uh, which I do mostly for the caloric burn. I live in Alabama, so we don't need a lot of firewood, but I have I have a lot of it split already because it's one of my exercise things. I finished a CrossFit class with my son, who's in excellent condition, this week at his gym, and I did it no problem. So I don't have the flexibility I once did, but I powered through all the aerobic type stuff and cardiovascular stuff really with no problem. So that's exciting. It's exciting. And my goal this year is to get down to 200 pounds by the end of the year 2023, which is today is May 19th, 2023. And the path, from 406 down to 215 pounds is full of a lot of stories, a lot of races, a lot of meetings, a lot of doctors and plans, and a lot of effort. But and certainly is also filled with a lot of failings and a lot of successes. And most importantly, it's been filled with a lot of supportive people who have helped me and encouraged me and instructed me and believed in me along the way. And at some point, I'll probably spend some more time talking about those past years. But right now, today, I want to talk to you about what I'm doing right now because I'm excited about it, and I think it might be able to help some people. In 2022, I managed to lose about 50 pounds. I gained some of the weight back that I had lost. I like to jokingly say the key to losing weight is gaining weight, And in the couple years before that, I had gradually put some weight on, just by allowing myself to get out of control. But uh, I I'd, I think at one point I was down around 250, and I'd gotten back up to 282, I think. Like I said, I walked 1,875 miles, and I count every calorie that I take in. I count every calorie that I expend. Um, it's not a real sexy method, but it works. However, as that year came to a close, this last year, 2022 came to a close, I found myself kind of just stuck in a plateau between 232 and 238 pounds. The scale wouldn't move. I was doing what I thought were the right things as far as consistently exercising, tracking all my calories, doing all that stuff. I was disciplined, I was consistent. The scale just did not want to cooperate, and it gets frustrating. So uh, naturally, when you spend an hour or two exercising every day and literally track every single thing you eat, you tend, to mention your efforts to the people around you, whoever they are. And in doing so, a couple people mentioned and suggested intermittent fasting, which kind of scared me at first because fasting is not a word anybody likes. But I looked into it, and I'm fortunate in that I am not a guy who needs to look real deep into anything. I call myself a 5%er because if I get 5% of the information, I can usually operate with it. And it's at age 62 plus, I've operated my entire life that way. And right or wrong, that's just how I do. And I find that because of that, I'm uniquely qualified maybe to share some things with you, and that's why I'm here. I uploaded the app on intermittent fasting. I use an app called Fasting Tracker. It's free. And there's lots of them out there, but that's the one I use, Fasting Tracker. And I started intermittent fasting, and I continued, however, to track all my calories with the other app that I use constantly and have used for years now. It's called Lose It, Lose It, exclamation mark. Again, it's free. I only use the free version. You could pay money for these things, but I do not pay them money. And I'm not, they're great. They've helped me. And if you want to give them money, feel free to, but I just use the free version. That was about 5 weeks ago. So this is pretty current. I'm talking about current stuff because I'm excited about maybe sharing and helping some people. About 33 days ago, to be exact. I think it's 34 days today because I made these notes for myself yesterday. And I've lost 15 pounds in those 33 days. And I really feel that my goal is 200 pounds, hit 200 pounds. My goal is completely within reach by the year's end, if not before. And by the way, I have not weighed 200 pounds since I was probably around 15, maybe 16 years old, which I was an athlete in high school, doing football, wrestling, and track. So I was in pretty good shape. I'm not 16 years old anymore, so I can't match up to that. But the 200 pounds, I've not been there since then. I don't think I've been to the 215 since there, possibly, but it's pretty exciting. And today, what I was hoping to do is share my experience with intermittent fasting in hopes that it'll help some of you reach your goals, and just share what this means to me, because if you haven't looked into it, or maybe if somebody hasn't shared it with you, I don't know. I thought, hey, come on, Randy, preach, man. So here's what I do. I do a daily 14-hour fast. As I speak, I'm actually past the 14 hours because my app on my phone told me about a half hour ago that I hit the 14 hours. So what that means is I can eat a during a 10-hour period every day, and then not eat during the next 14 hours. Now, a typical day has me ending my prior day's 14-hour fast around 8:30 a.m. That was basically this today. I'm actually going close to an hour past, and we'll talk about that in a second. But so a typical day, I end those 14 hours right around 8:30 in the morning, and so it's time for breakfast. And if I eat as soon as the 14 hours are up, that means I can eat again at 6:30 that night, in 10 hours, right? Simple as that. So from 8:30 to 6:30 at night gives me that 10-hour eating period. And if I think that I'd like to delay the eating for an hour or two, and I'm not feeling famished, I sometimes will stretch that out to 15 hours or 16 hours, which I'm close to the 15 hours right now as I talk to you. And I can feel I'm getting hungry, but I'm not starving. And and that'll allow me to go until 7:30 tonight, before I my 10 hours is up, or if I go to 16 hours until 8:30 at night. That gives me some flexibility, if I've got a dinner party to go to, or if my wife and I are going out to dinner that night, or for some reason I just want to do that. Another thing is it can be beneficial to the weight loss process, which I'll get into that a little bit more, very little bit more. I'm not a scientist, so I'm not going to share a lot of the details with you because I don't know them all. But it gives me some flexibility. That's my point. And usually I am not starving at the 14-hour mark, but I am starting to feel hungry, just like I do right now. And since I exercise every day, I very rarely miss a day of exercise. Since I exercise every day, I try not to let myself get too weak, from hunger, and I tend to eat a lot of protein. I'm on probably a heavier protein diet than the average person, but nothing out of the ordinary. I'll share that with you too. I mean, you believe me, you won't be that impressed with my diet. And that's why I want to share it with you, because it's something anybody can do. Anybody can do this. I limit my net caloric intake to about 1,750 calories a day. Now, it's my net income, my net net intake. And I say net because I enter both the calories that I eat and the calories that I burn using that Lose It app that I mentioned before, the free Lose It app, which is fantastic, fantastic app. I eat when I'm hungry. I don't overeat. That's something that I've learned over time, but I just eat when I'm hungry. And here's my typical diet. Typical diet, and it's probably what I'll have in a few minutes when I go up and fix my breakfast, is typically I'll have 2 eggs, either scrambled or over medium, and 2 pieces of toast with a little butter on it. That's a typical. I don't do that every day, but pretty close to every day. Then at lunchtime, which will be when I get hungry, usually in 2 or 3 hours, after the breakfast, depending on what I do in that morning. Typically for lunch, and I'll probably catch hell from this. I do from my wife and from my daughter-in-law and my son and everybody else who's smarter than me. Probably a typical lunch for me, partly because I'm just cheap and partly because I don't want to think about this a lot, is I'll have 2 hot dogs and 2 hot dog buns. I put a little dill pickle relish and a lot of mustard on there. And I might, after I eat that, if I get a little, I still want a little something sweet, maybe I may have 6 or 7 strawberries. And that's lunch. More than enough for me to eat. I know you're telling me hot dogs aren't good for you, but that's just being honest with you. That's what I eat. I might have something different, but what I eat that's different is probably not entirely healthy either. But I'm looking at the calorie count and the protein numbers, and that's about where I'm at every day. At dinner, I would say a very typical dinner for me would be a can of soup. I usually eat the generic soup from Walmart, and I like chicken and rice or chicken and noodle. And then I add some sliced up celery, maybe a can of chicken, just a can of chicken, and about 10 saltine crackers. Put that in there, especially if it's a cool day. But something similar to that is what I eat for dinner too. and I might eat some pretzels and some popcorn, or more likely about 2 or 3 ounces of Swiss cheese during the day as a snack, and that's what I eat. And then typically during the day, I'm going to walk between 4 and 6 miles. And I occasionally, if it's raining outside, I might make a trip to the gym. Although if it's raining not too hard, I'll just take the umbrella because I like to get those miles in because I got a goal. 2,000 miles. Got to get those miles in. But I may go to the gym and do some lifting. Or in addition to the walking, sometimes I'll split wood for an hour or two, just to make firewood and to get the exercise. I have a replaced right shoulder, so I can't do a lot of that, but I still get it done. Um, I other there's probably some other things I'll do as exercise. Oh, like push mow the lawn, which got a couple acres, so push mowing the lawn with my blocking sled lawnmower. That burns off some calories too. So and if I burn extra calories, those get counted. So that allows me to take that budget of 1,750 calories and bump it up probably by 500 calories a day. I would say on average I burn 500 calories exercising every day. But on a day when I'm doing more, I can eat more, and I usually do. I usually eat right about that number because I don't want to be hungry. Yesterday I was actually 500 calories under, and that happens too. But I very, very seldom go over, so I'm disciplined in that number. But the fact is, if you check it out, if you're eating 2,250 calories, 1,750 calories, this is a lot of food. It's quite a bit of food, and you can eat stuff you like. And so I do, and I think the key points that I want to make here, that and there's a reason to this. I mean, because I really thought I could encourage and help some people. Weight loss and getting healthy in general are not a sprint. It's a marathon. We want those fast results, of course we do. But the most meaningful results will take time and some behavior changes, but not that much behavior changes. Not crazy. Don't let the word fasting, frighten you. Like it did me when I first heard it. I thought, I don't think that's for me, but don't let it frighten you. Intermittent fasting simply organizes the process into fixed hourly plans. My selected program is 14-10. So 14 hours of fasting, 10 hours of eating. That's the combination. You could select, and these things are on the app. You could select 16-8 or 18-6 or some other combination. You can mix it up. You control it. And you'll learn lots and lots of details for free, like I did, and I do. I continue to learn from that free app that I mentioned earlier. It's full of great information. They keep updating it, and it's helpful. Frankly, sometimes I'm reading the app just to extend my eating time because they are teaching me about what's happening in my body. It's fascinating. It really is, and it's right up my alley because I'm not a guy who wants a lot of details. So it's been very beneficial to me. Intermittent fasting creates, for me, a new freedom that it results in you taking control of your eating, in what you eat, when you eat, and really control of your body. It's exciting. It really is for me. Maybe for the first time ever. I mean, it's been a gradual thing to get to this point, like I said, but intermittent fasting has really, more so than anything else in a long history of of struggling with food and weight. It has given me a feeling of freedom and control, and it's exciting, and that's why I wanted to talk to you. It's not a fad. It's not a diet. I feel like this is a way of living that I believe will change my life permanently, because I feel that freedom, and I feel this excitement of controlling my environment, and I don't want that to go away. And that's why I wanted to share it with everybody. I thought it could help, and if you want to reach out to me and ask me questions, feel free to leave a message. in the comments below, and I'll answer you here where it might be able to help others. If you want to write me an email, you can reach me at flippingquestions@gmail.com. That's flippingquestions@gmail.com, and I'll write you back. This is not my full-time gig. You can tell I'm not a scientist in any way. If you want to see what what I do as my full-time gig, I invite you to check out our website, flippinggenius.com. It's FLIPPINGENIUS, only one G in there, flippinggenius.com. And you'll see what we do. You can also visit the Flipping Genius YouTube channel. Just search Flipping Genius on YouTube, or click on the button wherever you're watching this. You're probably watching this on YouTube, and you can visit our channel and see all the other videos we have, which are not going to be related to what I'm talking about right now, because that's not what I do full time. But I thought this would help, so boom, I'm doing it. Hey, and if you like what you see, or if you want to hear more about what we do and more follow-ups to this, because I probably will do a follow-up to this because I think it will be helpful. Just subscribe to the Flipping Genius YouTube channel. Of course, there's no charge to do that, and save our website as a favorite so you can come back. And if you're interested in learning more about Flipping Genius, we've got a podcast. You can look up Flipping Genius podcast wherever podcasts are found, including flippinggenius.com, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and just about everywhere else. As of today, there's 165 audio episodes of the Flipping Genius podcast, and over 100 videos. But this is the only one so far that's about intermittent fasting. And if you want more, just reach out to me. I'll probably do a follow-up video, when I hit my goal, if not before, just to be of help. And I hope this helped you today. And I appreciate you watching. Good luck with whatever you do.